Welcome to the Rockhound Podcast. This week we have a brand new guest. Go ahead and take it away.
Hello, my name is Patrick Donohue, and I have a channel called Patrick Donohue, and where I'm from Eastern Washington, and I make videos lately, mostly faceting, but anything of interest from my geology background in planetary science to just interesting geology stories that I've heard or researched over the years.
Nice.
Awesome. And where are you broadcasting from?
Right now from the Tri-Cities in Eastern Washington.
All right.
West
Welcome
Coast
to the
represent.
Yep. Yeah, going strong. Welcome to the podcast, Patrick. And we're so excited to hear more about all of the geology. This is really, really cool to have you on. And a warm welcome to all of you watching from all over the globe. Tell us where you're viewing from. Yeah. And leave that in the comments along with what you're up to. We'd love to hear about it. And I'm Karen from Ozone Fine Art Ventures out here on the chilly coast. Next.
And I am Kurt Westerman out here in Western Colorado, where it's been pretty chilly as well. Got about 7 inches of snow, so it's freezing outside. Next, Theo.
This week I'm Yolanda, and my channel is Knitting to Death Metal.
Knitting to death metal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like talk or anything, and there's no commentary. It's literally just me knitting to death metal music in the background.
Okay.
They're
So
metal
any music
needles.
suggestions, leave them down in the comments.
A Slipknot.
Yeah.
It's good for knitting.
Yeah, that's a good pun.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, and then I'm Mod Kyle with World of Rock Hounds here in Oregon, aka the Bob Ross of Lapidary. Decided to support my awesome shirt that I got from Mary Beth. Again, thank you for that. But that will do for our introductions. Karen, if you would not mind doing the shout outs.
The shouts. First, huge thanks to Krista with Rock and Roll Road Rockhounding. That was a super duper fun time last week. If you haven't watched it, go back and check that out after you're done watching this one. Ragnar Rocks with Captain Cortez. That's an addition. Loved
Nice
her
name.
channel. I love it. You got to see his logo too. It's awesome. And he says Krista really knows her stuff, which is so true. Sandmaker says he always learns something and leaves smiling, and Krista was a delight. So another thumbs up for Krista there. Michelle was really impressed by that flint, as were we all. That was really something to behold. So she's eyeballing a trip to Ohio because of that. And she missed Kurt, as well as all of us did.
I'm sorry.
Aww.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
I know, that's been a minute.
All right. And so Claude says that it was 10 a.m. when we premiere over in Western Australia. It's kind of cool to hear what time we're on in different regions. So rocks and coffee, that's my favorite combination as well. He loved Flint and the Sunstones and thanked us all for that. And he's looking forward to the next Makers Challenge. Nudge, nudge. So, yeah, as we all are as well. Greg is also digging on the flint, needs to get some of that up to Calgary. And I'm hoping you're staying warm, man. Hasu Andre, Julie McKenna, Greek Explorers, Bob's Rocks, and y'all in the chat having fun. Thanks for watching and hanging out. And them's the shouts.
Thank you, Karen. Sorry, my throat's a little sore today. So, how was everyone's weeks? And we'll start with you, Patrick.
Oh, my week was pretty good. I'm busy keeping a small human alive. And so between that, I'm spending most of my time faceting these days, and turned out a couple of stones this week that I think turned out pretty well.
We got a sneak peek, I think.
Yeah. Show and tell action.
That'll be a show and
for
tell,
later. Yeah. Right on. And
So to you, Karen?
sure. Didn't you just have a milestone too?
Oh, yes. Just hit 300 subscribers on my channel.
Nice. Congratulations.
So slowly ticking my way up there.
Congrats on that.
Awesome.
Seriously, it feels so good when that happens after getting started, for sure. We had the holiday weekend, and so we actually, however cold it is here on the beach, there was no snow. And so we wanted to go up and check some of that out, even though I know that a few of you here in the room right now would like to get away from the snow. We counterintuitively went up. And Kyle was saying last week something about that, just it's mini rock hounding for crystals.
It's it's temporarily rock hounding because they don't last very long, and they're the only minerals that you can actually lick and eat and be fine. Just not the yellow ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had the
Stay away
dogs
from
along with
those.
us, so that was an X-nay on licking any of the snow, whatever color it might be. But we did some split board touring, and it was super duper fun. And so I got behind on all of my work, got back, did some cutting, did some polishing, a bunch of microscopy, because I just put out a new video on Amber, a little collab with Yarek. And that just dropped, whatever it was, yesterday or the day before that. It's been a blur. So I continued on with the microscopy because I am an absolute glutton for punishment, and that's going to be in my show and tell. And got some boxes in the mail. It's just been like a completely chock-a-block week for me. And then, of course, we have some special projects in the works that I can't talk about. And so Theo knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I did. That was our obligatory teaser for every week until it happens, which we're getting close. It's like, what, 2, 3? I don't know. It's close.
You will not have to guess or listen to us talk about it.
It's coming.
So that's my week. How about you, Kurt?
Well, I just posted a video last Monday where I was cutting up some spider web rhyolite, which was some new material I got. Super fun to cut and be surprised with all the beautiful colors and so forth. Monday or Tuesday, I started tumbling some mica. Just kind of curious how I can let it come out. Yeah. I know.
Okay.
And so that'll be my Monday post, and I'll show y'all what those look like for show and tell. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week besides trying to stay warm. And wish that I was really happy with how warm it's been getting, and the snow's been melting, and I can see my rocks outside. And then next thing you know, 7 more inches decide to come along. But yeah. So
it'll melt.
Yolanda?
I'm in the same boat. It was like last Monday before last. It was like almost 60 degrees, which is unheard of for February in Montana. We were like loving how nice it is. And yeah, then this week we had a low last night of -30 in Billings.
Ooh,
yeah, it's frigid outside.
Yeah.
So needless to say, my week has been short because I've been inside the whole time. No hunts this week. Did finally wrap up the bulk of cleaning the shop. And then other than that, I was working on something I found while cleaning, which is show and tell. So I'll talk about that later, and something else that I can't talk about yet. So yeah, my week super short for this one, actually, because I can't talk about the other thing yet.
Well,
almost.
We'll be here when you can.
We'll all be waiting.
Yeah.
And then, so my weekend, I was trying to get some stuff done in the shop, do some sanding on some rose quartz, and then cutting a bunch of customer projects, only to have one of my saws just stop in the middle of cutting like this big block of whatever it is. And it was an automatic reflex too, because I had 2 saws going at once. I walked by one of them and I can hear it slowing down, so I just like shut it off. Figured it was done. Pop the lid. I'm like, oh, you're not done yet. So I turn it back on. Sure enough, I can hear it just like slow down and just like stop. So the material is just super dense, and I just took it out. I'm like, yeah, I'm not cutting you anymore. I do something else in there, cut that instead. But yeah, I gotta take care of my saws, and if it's not gonna cut something, it's like, I'm not risking a rock over a blade. Nope, no thanks. But yeah, released a quick video this week. It's kind of a last minute deal. I think I recorded the day before. No, Monday. I don't remember which day it was anymore. But quick video. Got sick again over the weekend. It started off like a little bit, and then yesterday it's like, it sucks. It really sucked. But yeah. So just kind of taking it easy. And this weekend I'm gonna. Oh wait, yeah, future projects. Sorry, I'm a little spacey still, but I got some more other things I need to do, especially for our future event that we have coming up that we all should be anticipating. I still don't have a project picked out. I had one picked out, and then I realized there were some issues with it. So I'm like, yeah. So, but I do have a cool project in mind. So hopefully it works. If not, I might have to go to
Just make another pooping gnome.
or something.
Just do the same project every year.
Or do, but bigger.
That's so funny.
Well, at least I have a drill press this year, so I think last year I didn't really have that for that process. So I'm ahead of the game this time.
Nice.
But that is my week, and now we can get into the questions, the deep dives.
It's time to grill, Patrick.
Dun, dun,
All
dun.
right. Well, I always like to start off with that intro question. You've got this geology background, a PhD. So how did you get into this rock business? Was it a long time ago?
Yes. My grandfather was an amateur geologist, and so I grew up with his rock collection. He sadly passed away before I was born, but my mom had it, and she owned a rock shop for a little while as well. And
Nice.
so
Yeah.
had that kind of around me throughout my life, and was always fascinated by rocks and how they form, what they look like, and then sort of morphed into where they come from and what they're made of and all that kind of stuff.
And so
Awesome.
you didn't just pursue geology a little. Like
No, it was all in from the get-go.
yeah. The whole PhD. What's your specialty?
My PhD was in planetary science, so geochemistry, and I studied the petrology of lunar basalts, specifically the Apollo 17 samples that were brought back. So how they formed and evolved, and flowed over the surface and changed over time.
Nice.
Wow.
That is so cool.
that really is. So that explains so much. And so did you magnetize out to Eastern Washington because of the basalt? Or
No, this is pretty close to my wife's hometown.
Ah,
So I'm from New York. She's from Washington. We kind of met in the middle in grad school in Indiana and bounced around, but ended up kind of close to home for a job for her.
nice.
And then it just kind of worked out that there's basalts, which a lot of people don't give them enough credit for how interesting they can be.
Oh my
I know someone
gosh.
else does too.
yeah, almost needed to invite him on the podcast tonight. Maybe the next time, if you want to come on again, Patrick, we'll have that other person on at the same time, and you guys can like go down the basalt rabbit hole, if you will. But so you've got a whole piece on your channel, Better Know a Basalt. Like there's a whole series.
Yeah, that was kind of an excuse to go out around the state and visit different interesting localities.
And it's fantastic. It's really informative. And yeah, if you've got a thing for basalt, this is, he's dialed your number. Right?
Check it out.
There's a lot of
Kurt,
basalt here, but
yeah, so much. So same here. We share the same ones for the most part. Kurt, you got a question?
Sure. So out of like anytime you've gone out rock hounding or been exploring the basalts, do you have any like fun or cool, interesting stories about any like encounters with animals, or found anything really spectacular that just made the experience?
I think there's two parts to that, or two answers to that. The first one is the very first, I think, better known basalt I did was the Lower Monumental Dam. And I went to one site and it was in a like wildlife refuge and started going down a trail and it just kept getting like taller and taller grass. And I started getting worried about rattlesnakes and I heard a hawk do the, like that stereotypical scream that the hawks do when there's the desert and death is near. So I turned around, I went to a different site, and the second site turned out to be a lot more interesting, where there's like a really cool outcrop of river gravel underneath the basalt that had you know, covered and capped. And so that was kind of a like, oh yeah, this is interesting, and there's interesting things here to look at. And that was kind of spurred me on to do the next one and the next one of that series. And then kind of the wildest thing I would say is when I went to actually Oregon for a vacation, on the way back from visiting the Agate locality, which there's a video on my channel about that, I stopped over to look for another basalt there, and I was a Forest Service quarry, and I rolled up, and there were a couple of guys there already, and it took me a few moments to recognize the pop, pop, pop as guns, and they were just popping off into the quarry with handguns. And I rolled up and I was like, hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to poke around those rocks, and they're like, well, we're going to be shooting them for a little bit, but you just park over there behind us and wait it out, and we'll let you know when we're done. So I had a little chorus of gunfire for a little while I took a nap to wait them out.
Wow.
Oh, if you can sleep through that. Oh.
Yeah.
It was a long day, so I needed the rest.
Wow. That's cool.
I'm going to beat you to the dad pun here, Kyle, but that takes rock hunting to a new meaning.
Literally.
Sorry.
That was a good pun, though. Good. Yeah. Beat me to it. Yolanda. Wait.
Oh, it's me. Sorry.
Yep.
So what is your favorite material to facet, and what is one material you've always wanted to facet?
Ooh, well, I'm pretty new to the game, but I think the most fun I've had faceting in the limited experience is actually Sunstone, where it's soft, so it facets pretty well, and I can like move things around and make things meet perfectly. And I think that's my best stone is a Sunstone so far, because I was able to really dial it in on the higher grits. And it looks really nicely even without schiller, just, you know, light, that tan.
Flush diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I've been told, they're a very forgiving stone to facet, especially if you're just getting into it.
Yeah, haven't really had much problem with cleavage. Maybe like one cleavage plane kind of creating a veil through one of them, but yeah, they hold together pretty well, even with some fractures.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what's really driving my train to get into faceting. Is I really, really want to. I've carved and hand faceted just on a flat lab the Sunstone, and I'm so addicted. And I cannot wait to have a proper faceting machine to be able to do dazzling things with it.
Yeah, I have to get back out there and restock my supply. I used to have 10 pounds Sunstones, now maybe at 5.
Oh yeah, running short there.
A little bit.
What do I?
5 pounds, that's nothing.
I appreciate the ones you sent me, because I'm part of the problem for depleting your stock.
I give a lot of it out because, like, you know, I don't have a faceting machine, so I don't really have use for a lot of these Sunstones. I mean, yeah, I can use my cabbing machine to cab them up, but it's like I still have a lot. So if I give stuff out, I can just go back and get more. It's not a big deal. Just do the all you can eat buffet and have help doing it, so I can just quickly reload and go back.
Yeah,
I'd like to go down and grab some of those at some point, maybe this next year.
It is such a good
things work out.
Yeah, and there's so much right there too. The Heart Antelope Mountain and the hot springs right there, and that's actually destination for some different geology that I think you'd really enjoy So it's just like there's just this pocket. It's very desolate. There's nothing out there. Like you want to do all your grocery shopping before you even head in that direction. But you know, as for rocks and interesting geology, it's just like so gravid with good stuff.
Yeah, I've done a little looking into like mapping out places to go, and it's like if you're going to go down there, might as well hit these other spots on the way, and then the trip just gets longer and longer.
Yeah, we can't seem to leave Oregon because we get stuck out there. We think we're going to Idaho or Washington, and like, nope.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
There's another one. Yeah.
It's nice having someone that is not so much a rock hound with you. Like that's the only reason we can accomplish trips is because Alexis is like, no, we're going to TP Canyon. It's like, but we have to go through Wyoming to get to South Dakota. We're going to TP Canyon. It's like, okay, all right,
I understand.
You win.
It's gotta have the good balance.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we'd never make it out of the state.
Mm-hmm. So my question would be, I guess my first question would be, we can always circle back to, since you have a fasting machine, do you have any other plans to get other equipment, or do you have any other equipment for lapidary purposes, or have any interest of getting into like more lapidary equipment?
Right now, my only other piece of equipment is a rock hammer, which is kind of a blunt instrument for that kind of work. And right now, I don't even have like a trim saw, which I think is probably would be the next most important thing to get, just to save rough and trim off some pieces, because I've had to really grind out a lot of big chunks of rock, which just wears on the wheels unnecessarily. And if I could trim them out, that would help a lot, save time and the wheels or the laps.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
Wanda would know this.
Yes, I do. Because I started with a faceting machine that I didn't know how to use. So I was doing nothing but cabbing on a faceting machine, and I didn't have a trim saw. So I would take a rock like this big and grind it all the way down into a cabochon about the size of my thumbnail. And I went through the plates when I first started, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say your like total bucket list mineral to go hounding for would be?
Ooh. Moon rocks.
That's a new one. I think that would be the first time.
That's the winning answer right there.
One. Yep.
Yep.
Good one. And what would you hope to find on the moon?
I'd be interested to go to. I've kind of followed a lot of studies of like places to go on the moon for interesting things in terms of like scientific return. And there's a place called the Aristarchus Plateau, which has both possibly really young and more enriched, like not radioactive, but rare earth elements and those kind of things in it. And it would be a really kind of something that we don't have here, and would be really tough to go to because it's like hilly and tough to land a robotic return mission on.
Oh,
That'd
sounds like an adventure. Yeah. Sign this guy up. Space Force.
Let's go.
Yeah. Kurt, yeah. Do you have another question?
Yeah. What is the strangest thing you've ever found when out rock hounding?
Interesting.
It doesn't have to be a rock or a mineral.
I can't really think of too much other than just some weird rabbit animal skulls with like not rabbit horns, but I was going to say jackalope, but like a deer skulls, kind of bigger dead animals out there.
That's cool.
You probably could have said jackalope and just went with it. Keep that myth alive.
I'm down with the jackalope.
That would have been weird.
Weird and cool.
Yes.
I keep forgetting that was one thing that I thought was real growing up, because I think someone had like a stuffed jackalope in their house.
I've
Like,
seen
oh,
those.
what is that? Like, oh, that's a male rabbit. They call it a jackalope. I'm like,
That's why I was thinking of it, because my mom had a mounted a jackalope skull on the wall growing up.
yeah, I believe that. Along with the big white things in the fields are marshmallows. That's where they came from.
You told me that. I didn't know what you're talking about, but that's funny.
Big bales of hay
Yeah.
from plastic. I didn't catch on until I was like 11 or 12. Wait a second. Those aren't marshmallows.
Oh, those are shredded wheat.
He still thinks that they're shredded wheat. Shh.
Don't ruin it for me.
Yeah.
What about you, Yolanda?
Sorry.
Go, Landa.
Drinking coffee at the wrong moment. So what prompted you to want to get into faceting?
That was all thanks to the local geology club that I'm a member and board member of now,
Oh, cool.
where we have a kind of a local guy that has just everything you can imagine in his workshop, and he's done faceting for 50 years, and is willing to teach anybody that comes that's a member of the club. You can go there pretty much for free and learn faceting or use his rock saws and all this stuff. And so I hung out with him for a few times before I was like, okay, I guess the faceting machine is there. Can you show me what to do? Basically, he has the machine that I have, the Raytech Shaw. He has those available, and like the really high end Ultratechs. And he said, well, if you're going to do it for personal use in the future, you might want to do kind of this cheaper, still easy to use model. And so I tried that out, and I was like, okay, it's kind of neat. I turned out a really nice stone with him in just a couple of days, a couple hours at a time. And then I think the next day I looked on eBay, and there just happened to be a Raytech Shaw online.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, dude, meant to be.
It was meant to be, yeah. I asked him a couple times of like, oh, well, I saw this. Does this look okay? Is it like good quality? And it's like, yeah, for what it is, that's a really good price. So I jumped on it, and don't go there to his place quite as much anymore. Stuck at home.
It's usually how it goes though. Like once you learn something from someone, like, and you get your own equipment, you're just kind of in your own space. Like, all right, I have my own devices now.
Yeah, I would have loved to have someone to learn from, because we murdered a lot of good stones trying to figure out how the heck to fast. Which is why I have a surplus of small quartz crystals, because I didn't feel bad if I ruined the clear quartz.
Yeah, I did murder a sunstone the other day because I was just trying to freeform a shape, and my beads kept going off, and it just kept getting smaller and smaller. And
oh no!
I'm not going to get anything out of this anymore.
I've definitely done that.
So I've got to wait a little while to do freeform stuff. Just going by diagrams for now until I get the hang of it.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cool, though. I haven't heard of a lot of other people doing that, like diving into faceting before any of the other fields of lapidary. So that's super awesome to hear.
Oh, well, I guess, yeah, I've made a cab or two on his machines, but I don't think I would have bought like a high-tech lap wheel or a cabbing machine. It was the faceting was just interesting enough to make me jump for it.
It's so much fun. It's such a blast to do, and you do fantastic work.
Yes.
Thank you.
You do.
Makes me want to get a faceting machine at some point.
Check eBay regularly. That's where mine came from too.
Well, the thing is, like, once you get equipment, like, the more you see other things, like people doing other things, like I want to get a air scribe and like all these fossil preparation tools. I want a faceting machine. I want like a really awesome microscope so I can like take cool pictures of like small things. Like I only have so much bench space. I mean, I could probably put the faceting machine here in the rock room and the microscope where it's not, as dusty or as loud. But you can never have everything, but you want everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Story. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have a petrographic microscope again and be able to look at thin sections and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of miss doing that.
Yeah. The tool to make the thin sections, youch, though,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like, I want to make some petrified wood thin sections, and my dad and I were looking online for, the tools for that, and I'm like, oh, you need to be an institution to buy one of those.
Yikes.
You can send away for relatively cheap to get a thin section, but then it's, I don't know, $16 or something for a thin section, which adds up pretty quick. You got to have something really special to make it worth your while.
Totally.
Yeah. No thanks. So you had mentioned that your mom had a rock shop. Do you have any plans of like opening up your own shop, or maybe taking things further with your knowledge and background?
I was considering that with the faceting side of things. Once I am able to, make something that would actually look good in a jewelry and would meet my standards of doesn't have weird wonky meats in areas where right now it's just for me, so I can say it's good enough. But maybe in the future, selling some faceted stuff would be on the agenda.
Nice. Yeah, there can be money in it, because I see posts all the time. People are like, oh, I have the sunstone, or I have like a piece of amethyst or whatever it is, and like, where can I go get this faceted? And because not, it could be hard to find people to do that.
Yeah, I think it could be a good local resource for some people, like especially being in the West, relatively close to the sunstone source.
Yeah,
people will at least know what they are and be on the lookout for places to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I know a guy out in Ohio that does really amazing faceting, and so whenever someone asks, I usually send them over to him. Like, contact this guy, see if he can help you out. Yeah, so that was my question. Anyone have any more questions at all? Are you ready for show and tell then?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, Patrick, what you got?
All right. Well, I have a couple of faceted stones. Surprise, surprise. Should have had some basalt ready, I guess. But the first one, I think you'll have a photo, but this is the very first
so beautiful
stone that I faceted.
Beautiful.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
It's so sparkly, it's hard to focus on it. But,
if you do, say so yourself.
That's a neodymium yag, which is the laser source for cat laser and that kind of thing. And that's a design that was actually made by the lapidary guy that I learned from. So it's not a public design. So I'll just call it the Zinsky special after him for now until he releases it.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
But it's so sparkly, it's crazy. And then the other one is I just finished up this afternoon, which is a large amethyst.
Oh my gosh, that is a large amethyst.
Nice.
How many carats is that?
I think it's like 8.9 or something like that. Oof, I waited earlier.
That is a boulder.
Beautiful.
So the first stone I did, I almost dropped this. But
oh no!
The first design is relatively simple, but this one's a berry and cushion cut, which is a lot more technical. And I kind of wanted to show both of those because I went pretty quickly from relatively simple, straightforward designs to that kind of more finicky design in a month or so. And it's all thanks to Mike and learning how to facet.
Heck yeah, that is so cool.
Really amazing. So did it feel like your learning curve was moonshot as well? Did it feel that empowered to you?
I missed the first part of your question because my internet froze there. I don't know if you want to do a timeout.
So you're rolling the dice on how to answer and this is fun. No, you went so exponentially fast. You just did a moonshot as far as here's my first one, and cow. You're doing that incredibly complex thing. Did it feel like it was that it came on that easy to you?
I'd say so. Once I got the basics down, I think it was pretty easy to branch out. although I do have some experience I've made thin sections before, and I've worked a lot with polishing rocks and stuff like that. So, or polishing thin sections and thick sections of samples for analysis. So I have that kind of small detail work background, which I think helped a lot.
Nice.
Definitely.
Nice.
Well, it did help a lot. That was amazed.
Well,
Right.
yeah, thank you for your show and tell and showing
Yeah, thank you.
how beautiful those are.
Yeah,
Need some sunglasses now.
I know.
Yeah, I had my brother-in-law was over here, and he's like, "Oh, it looks like costume jewelry," and he's like, "I mean that as a compliment, I swear." Just like
Outside
purples
for
and
12
pinks
paces,
and,
sir.
it's all these weird colors that you wouldn't normally see. That it's not clear or anything like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And no, it's real, man. It's real. That's cool. I guess that is like a high compliment, just relative to somebody's understanding.
Yeah.
Well, I have something completely different than that for my show and tell. It's a rock. It's broken. It's not broken in a nice way like Patrick's at all. And yeah, it's like several. This is like the Death Star after yeah, good hit. And so I was actually breaking little teeny weeny concretions, of course, looking for that ever elusive crab. And this one actually had some details inside. There's a shot of a handful here that Kyle will show, that actually in one of the pictures, the centerpiece, you can almost see what looks like the body could be shell. I'm not sure. It's just the size that makes it a little difficult to get underneath the microscope, and yet I can. And then too small to really get a good idea. With the bare naked eye, this is like part of the quote unquote possible shell. And then there's all this material. You can only imagine that like these concretions can be a hairball, like an ancient middle Miocene, 15 million year old hairball of all this different stuff that, kind of got caught together and then, created this concretion, which is exactly what that looks like. Brought it underneath the microscope, started looking at the stuff, and there was a lot of organic stuff. Could be legs, could be body parts, but also I kept on coming across these Lucky Charms. I mean, they're
magically delicious.
Seriously. I mean, talking about the marshmallows in the field, like they were just all these different shapes and colors, and some of them were iridescent, and some of them like had like little perforations, kind of like a golf ball. And sure enough, I'm finding the forums. And there are these little one-celled creatures that were like the phytoplankton back then, and other little guys. So I have another picture that it looks like eggs. There's two of them in the picture, and one of them's quite large and the other one's small, and these ones happen to be black, but there were ones that were iridescent, there were ones that were pearlescent. There were perfectly clear ones and there were broken ones. And so I wasn't sure if they were like eggs or, like I said, maybe a Volvox type thing. And then there are these round ones that are these little flying saucers that have like a star pattern. These particular ones had 8 little spires, and they almost look like little crinoid discs, but we're in the wrong part of the epics for that. And so they might be some kind of articulated thing kind of like that, or who knows what. Both of those pictures of the little agar pearls and the little stars are at 250x, and so these guys are minute. Yeah, we're talking about, just a micrometer, or a couple. And then the third picture of the little guys is a picture of 3 of them. And one looks like an egg, maybe with contents. And so are those like the little guy's guts, or are those like actual little egglings, some little fondlings in there? And the second one seems empty, but you can see what I was talking about, the golf ball texture. And then the third is curled up, and I was wondering if we were seeing a sequence, like, if this is what they look like, and when they come out, if it looks like what looks like a kind of curled up shrimp, but also when you do some of the research on these guys, they have ones that look just like a little nautilus or an ammonite. I mean, but they're like a
So
micron.
cool.
Yeah. And so
It's so cool.
these guys, this was like doing micro rock hounding, because I was looking for fossils, like a fossil crab, but the rock hounding just got really small really fast. And so
It's so cool.
It is.
And that was what I was doing, taking a break from looking at the amber under the microscope. I'm like, okay, next. So yeah, that's my show and tell. Thanks for humoring my nerding on the microscopy there.
Thank you for your show and tell.
Absolutely. And Kurt?
Oh, so my show and tell is from my video from Monday. I cut a bunch of small slabs of spider web rhyolite, which also looks like zombie blood, and that sort of
Nice.
thing. It looks very beautiful. Love those
Is
bright fluorescent greens
Yeah,
mixed with
that's
the
so
reds. And they kind of have like a botryoidal type look to them. Very beautiful. And I'm gonna be tumbling those soon. And
With your new tumbler?
with my new no, I'm gonna do that with my old tumbler. I'm gonna cut a bunch of pink granite for the first use of my big tumbler, and then a bunch of random stones. So that'll be later. Then this is a piece of Rosetta lace agate, which is also from Mexico. I want to say close or around that same area as Laguna lace and crazy lace, but it's very beautiful. This piece has a nice little pocket of red druzy quartz.
So
Let's see if
cool.
y'all can see that.
Oh, this
And then
is
like the cut
insane.
side in
That
the
is
right lighting.
so
I have oil
insane.
on here, so that way, like y'all can't really see it, but very vibrant reds
That's
and
so
oranges.
cool.
Kyle
And
has a sexy
crazy
picture
laces.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I have a super sexy
Yeah.
picture of it.
Oh my gosh. It's so good.
Yeah. And I just got those in the mail from Family Stones on Facebook. So
Nice.
I always buy most of my stuff from them. They always have some cool stuff. And then the third show and tell is some mica that is actually not falling apart and tumbling very well.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is so weird.
I'll be doing I'm posting a video on this this upcoming Monday, but I stabilized the mica first, tumble it on, I skipped stage 1, tumble on stage 2 for 24 hours, 24 hours, and then pull it out, wash it really well, stabilize it again, and then put it in for pre-polish. And it actually turns out really well. It doesn't fall apart as you would expect with mica, because since it ranges between 2.5 to 4 on the Mohs scale, and it turns out really beautiful. So I'll be switching it to the polished stage, which it doesn't really need to be polished because it's already had that nice luster metallic look to it. But yeah, I'm just more of an experiment to see how it turns out. And the first time I tumbled mica, it was like glitter water when I was done.
That's
So-
what I would have anticipated. So I'm super impressed with your results so
Yeah.
far. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've seen people tumbling garnets with mica schist on
Mhm.
them, and they tumble it just to get rid of the mica, so they have the garnets
Mhm.
by themselves.
Yeah. It's a fun project. I want to go out to where the source is, the mica mine in Grand Junction area, and collect a lot more, and then do a huge batch in the big tumbler. And yeah,
Cool.
it'll be fun. So those are my show and tell.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kurt.
Very pretty.
Thank you. Yolanda.
So I have 3. So this one is one I found last summer, I think June or something like that. Anyway, though, I found it sitting face down like this. I was like, "Ooh, nice agate," and then I flipped it over, and it's just got like this crazy little druzy pocket inside. And I then promptly, put it somewhere super safe in the shop, which means I lost it, and then refound it while I was cleaning. So it was super safe though, but because I had no idea where it was.
That's always
It
the
was still
safest
there.
place.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was cleaning, I rediscovered it and decided that it needed a polish. That face is just so pretty, and it's one of my favorite things about this agate, and it's so hard to get pictures of to do it justice. I think some of the pictures I sent maybe caught it, but the backside has got just the coolest texture. So Montana agates sometimes they will form in basalt, like basalt bubbles kind of, and then calcite lines the pocket between the agate and the basalt. And usually when you find them, they're super, super, super river tumbled. So all of that crystal structure is gone. But when you find them when they're kind of raw like this, you can actually find Montana agates that still have the calcite like indentations and it's indentations. And it's so cool because you can see that like perfect, what's the term I'm looking for? Cubic crystals.
The geometry
The
of
ROMs.
Yeah, exactly. And if you get like, I think one of the pictures I sent maybe shows it pretty well, but yeah, you see those perfect square like indents from the calcite crystals. So this one was just such a cool specimen to just leave as raw as I could on the backside, and it's got druzy on the inside, which I needed to save. So it was just begging for a polish. So I literally stopped what I was doing when I found that. And I was like, hey, I have a flat lap now, which I didn't have when I found that. So we're going to polish it.
The dangers of cleaning,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've gotten so distracted.
Look at this. Yeah.
Like,
it gets bad sometimes.
Yeah, like it easily took a week longer than it should have just because I kept going, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this. Let's make a cab right now.
I'm the opposite.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, like
once I start cleaning, I have to clean first. Like I can't get distracted.
Yeah,
I know that I'm not gonna get around to it in a timely fashion because it's like, all right, I'm gonna get back on track with the cleaning and I'm gonna set this down and it'll get lost again. So
somewhere safe.
So if I want this polished, I just got to do it now while I'm thinking about it. So speaking of polishing, next is this, which is a clam shell from Florida,
Nice.
calcite filled clams. This one actually wasn't that great of a specimen. Here, if I get closer, maybe you can see all the calcite on the backside. It's cool because on one side, which I haven't showed you the actual clam yet, you have the calcified clam that fills with calcite crystals, but then on the backside, you can see a bunch of different shell material, and all of those, well, most, if not all, some pieces, like literally everything is calcified. But yeah, you can see little smaller crystals on this side. But this one didn't have great crystals on it, so I thought it would be fun to run a test and just polish one of those calcite clams.
Nice.
And it is
That is
so
beautiful.
cool. And I don't know why I've never seen anyone do this before, because it's like those dogtooth calcite crystals that come out of Florida are just so perfectly glass clear with that vibrant yellow color that they take just an amazing color, and they've got polish. They're just like perfectly see-through. Like, it's so cool. Like, I'm trying to get a little closer to the camera so you guys can see just the insane depth of those crystals. And then a lot of them have little like rainbow pockets. It's so cool. I love these things. That was
awesome.
a fun one to polish. So I might do a few more that way. And then lastly, we have this, which I found not on my last hunt, but the one before that, like a month ago. Has it been a month already? Oh my gosh, I need to get back outside. Darn you, winter. So one thing we find a lot of on the Yellowstone is petrified wood. It gets all river tumbled and, it's just rounded over and stuff like that. I've been hunting in Montana for a very long time, and we've found, or at least seen, petrified wood like in its host rock before in other parts of the state, but I have never even heard of it on the Yellowstone before. So I was out with Montana Rock Mom hunting, and we found a big piece of petrified wood inside of sandstone.
That's cool.
It's
Oh, wow.
so cool. And I got it out. It has a knot, which is just that much cooler.
That's awesome.
And then it was extremely freeze fractured, so it came out in like 5 pieces, which honestly I'm happy about, because if it came out one piece, I never would have seen just how pretty this is. Sorry, I'm getting it wet. Sorry.
Don't lick
gosh. Yeah, don't lick it. Jared's watching. Don't lick. So it has not only beautiful grain, but it has just vibrant blue chalcedony.
Ooh.
I've got
Oh, wow.
pictures up so you guys can actually see what I'm looking at. But I actually
That's
set
awesome.
it next to a few of my pieces of river tumbled pieces, and it's like the grain matches up so perfectly. I don't know why it's weird to think about for me, but
Maybe it came from
it's
the same
just
piece.
it's just river tumbled, or it's just what am I trying to say? It's Yellowstone River petrified wood before it got river tumbled, which I've never seen or heard of in Montana. So it was just so cool seeing that. Like, I'm sure for you Oregonians and in Washington, you guys got Saddle Mountain. Like, finding raw petrified wood is like nothing special, but on the Yellowstone, that was crazy. Like, I've never heard of that.
Will it take a polish?
It probably would. If it behaves anything like, you're just instant reaction every time you see wood. I swear, I'm gonna polish it.
Yeah, polish it real good.
If it behaves anything like the rest of the petrified wood I found on the Yellowstone, it should take a beautiful polish. So I'm thinking of just polish in both faces because it's so
really
cool.
Real quick, it's really interesting to think about whenever you're out on a mountainside and you find river tumbled petrified wood up on the mountainside.
This is a Patrick thing. I think I was just watching the video that you were talking about when you were talking about the basalt over the river tumbled rocks, and then other times you find the river tumbled rocks at the very, very top of a mountain, and you're going like, how did this happen? So
Yeah, the rivers were everywhere here.
yeah.
They've been shoved all over the place from the basalt.
Yeah.
Unless something has been placed there, because I met one person where he's like, "Oh man, check out what I found," and oh gosh, I'm spacing the name of it, but it's a crystal that actually comes out of I think Madagascar, and he shows me, "Yeah, I found it up in the woods up here in Oregon." I'm like, "That's not from Oregon. That's from Madagascar." It's probably someone that was trying to cleanse their stone. They just left it behind on accident and forgot to.
Like Jamin was talking about. They found crystals up in the mountains.
Yeah.
But they were probably left there by hippies.
Yep.
Specifically by hippies.
Yeah.
Those hippies. They're crystal polluting.
I'm spacing the name of the crystal too, because it's fairly expensive stuff, and metaphysically, if you keep it at the head of or the headboard next to your bed, is supposed to help filter out bad dreams. And it's that light blue crystal that has the titanium content. I can't think of the name of it. I'm sure I'll think of it after the podcast, but it's
probably
it's gone. Can't think of it right now.
You got the picture in your head. It's just
well, I have a chunk of it up there, but I don't feel like getting up to get. I mean, yeah.
Come on.
While he's doing that, people actually come out to the beach and they plant rocks out here too, which I find really weird.
Strange.
Like, if you've taken too many agates and like you're about to move, you want to bring them back to the beach. I think that's a great idea. Just go ahead and toss them back on the beach. Yep. I have found tumbled agates at the beach, and I know people, have done exactly that. I mean, it's way too glossy for it to.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the name of it now. Celestite.
I was going to ask.
Celestite. Yeah.
I was actually talking about that earlier.
About
the stone.
Yeah, I guess he found it at the top of a mountain when he was out hunting. I'm like, hey, and it was probably about the size of this, if not a little bit bigger.
Oh wow!
I'm like, hold on to that. I mean, that stuff's expensive.
It's not like Oregon, like
no.
It's Oregascar. Celestite, sir. Sorry.
That's what a rock collection is just a future confusion for archaeologists.
Yes.
I always think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, like all of the houses where, we've collected like, like Kyle's place, my place, we've got piles of rocks. I know some of them have gone into the ground around my garden, like some of the very first things that I collected, and then I'm not so keen on now. So they became part of like the koi pond or whatever. People are gonna be like, why is this case bar here? Yeah.
I always imagine like in the distant future when like everything eventually would either get buried, by soot, whatever it might be, and archaeologists are digging, like they find obsidian and then thunder eggs and then like petrified wood, but like in big clumps. Like, what happened here? I mean,
We're sorry.
I think the obsidian probably wouldn't last near as long as everything else, because I think obsidian does not age well as other stones. It deteriorates faster. I think it's brittle. It just falls apart, I think. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to be a geologist in like 50,000 years in the future when everything is just covered. But oh my gosh, Yolanda, did you have any other show and tell before?
I was gonna bring another one, but I forgot it at the shop, and I don't have a picture of it that I can send you before tomorrow. So we'll just picture yeah, I'll just bring it next.
Picture
I was gonna
say,
yeah. just imagine like a big potato of an agate, and then that's what my fourth show and tell was. And whatever you picture up there, that's your agate. Like that's your special agate.
You can always bring it next week too.
Yeah, I'll just do that. But that video comes out tomorrow from when this comes out, Saturday.
I think you have to put a baked potato image on the screen.
It's like the perfect potato shape too, actually. So, just literally send you a picture of a baked potato.
Oh gosh. So yeah, thank you, Yolanda, for your show and tell. And
of course,
mine is just what I polished this week. Nothing too fancy except for these beautiful little agates that I spent about 20 minutes in total. 16 minutes polishing up. So
good
the
video.
white, yeah, thank you. the white one. I was initially going to have the video just be the entire time of like no fast forward, but I'm like, no. If I think this time I might actually do like the full length video, like in a link in the description of that video. People want to watch the full process of it. It's not super long, but I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I might maybe do that this weekend. For those that want to see that part, the long, boring part, I might still add music in the background, so you're not having to sit there and listen to the Sanders just going, because I don't really talk when I'm working. I mean, lately I haven't even been listening to music, because typically I have the music going, because the music when I'm listening to in the shop, they'll probably get a copyright strike on my channel. So a lot of times when I'm working, then that's why I do like the music over or fast forward, because I'm either not talking or I'm playing music, which will probably get me in trouble. So it's like, sorry.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
But yeah,
I usually have YouTube playing in the background, so it's like, oh no copyright strikes.
I mean, what I probably could do, because I use Epidemic Sound for all the videos, because I have a subscription to them. So technically, I could make a playlist, the music I like, and just play it as I'm going. But I also make sure I keep track of what songs and artists are on that playlist. Yep. So at least it's noted in the description, so I don't get in trouble. But yeah, the little white agate was the one that I found there in the forest area, and I still have to go back and do some more poking around. It's kind of tricky, because I would like to have a probe to kind of probe the dirt and kind of listen for that glass tink, knowing that there's agate down there. But that area is so rocky, like, the probes are great for like a lot of like dirt or something a lot softer where there's not a whole lot of rock in there. But when an area is already rocky, it's near pointless. It doesn't make sense. And then the other one is just that little, oh gosh, it was the agate that I found next to the wall, and it has, Yeah, thank you. It has like little inclusions on the inside. I was gonna polish the backside, and I can always do that in the near future. But I don't know if it was like a maybe one-off chance because I was trying to find that the same material on the wall. If I just knocked away some of that red clay, I couldn't find any more of it. And that was that same wall I found that the crystal pocket in the two crystal pockets. And oh yeah, an update. I tried to piece together those little crystal pieces to see if I can get those the third one back together. I don't think that's going to happen. It would have helped if I was recording that part of me digging because I didn't record the entire time, just here and there, just kind of help give me an idea of like the layout of that crystal pocket, so I can figure out like what pieces went where. No, I'm not that good at 3D puzzles. All I know it was more oblong, like up and down, and like it was kind of flat. So that's kind of the information I'm going off of. I'm like, no. But that was my show and tell.
Bravo.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Thank you. So now we get into words of wisdom. Patrick, what you got?
Man.
I would say that you most likely have some kind of at least somewhat local geology or rock hounding club in your area, and it would behoove you to check them out and take advantage of the, I imagine, collective wisdom of the club in terms of sites to visit, and like in my case, the workshop with everything you could imagine to work on.
That is excellent.
Absolutely.
Words of wisdom.
Part of mine.
Yeah, go grab that opportunity. Yeah, well, it's there for sure. Excellent. I think mine is definitely don't knock it till you try it, or resistance is futile. I'm not sure which one is more applicable. But I recall I can't remember like how many months back, but Ma'am Lambo is who I don't know if I mentioned it when I was doing the show and tell, but my concretion is marine, and it's about 15 million years old, give or take millions. But it's a story of formation, and Ma'am Lambo actually has about the same era, and he had come across some forums, or I don't think I said the full name. It's a foraminifera, actually, is, or foraminifera. Oh my gosh. You can do it, Karen.
Pulling a Kyle.
That was me doing the Amber video too, man. There were some fun words in that one. But I watched this video and I was like, not for me. No, like there, you probably have all done something where like, you're like, yeah, if I kept on being interested in every little thing that this like kind of unfurled out into, it just exponentially becomes way too much to be interested in. Like you just don't have enough time to do all that stuff. Like you were saying about tools earlier, right, Kyle?
Yep.
Yeah, like you could have a whole shop full of, but so I'm like not gonna get into forums, and until I saw them. It's just that I hadn't found any yet. I didn't know where I was looking. You look in the new sand, and it's you don't know if it's modern. You don't know if it's something that was very, very old. But I'm looking in the concretion, untouched since then, and there they are. So, anyways, don't knock it until you try it, or resistance is futile. Which, take your pick.
I'll have a story to add on that after we get through all the words of wisdom. Just a quick tangent, so I won't forget. So
okay, bookmark that. How about you, Kurt?
Well, I was going to say kind of what Patrick said. So, but pretty much, if you are new to rock hounding and you need help identifying rocks or minerals and so forth, like Patrick said, go to your local rock and mineral club. They can help with that. There's also books in your local library. And you can turn to Facebook if you want, but you're going to get a lot of mixed answers on Facebook. So go see your rock shop or local mineral club, and they can help with that. And they have a lot of really good resources, like Patrick was saying. They also have polishing and lapidary gear for you to use. So just go see them.
Yeah, and like we get pretty cheap tumbling grit from a contact with the club, so you can get discounts on
Nice.
things like that.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yolanda.
Oh, it's me. Sorry. Every time. I'm sorry.
Yolanda.
So, one of mine is that I forgot to show you one of the coolest parts about my petrified wood, and it's got amazing banded agate on one side of it.
Ooh.
I was like looking at it,
Nice.
just sitting there, and I'm like, wait, I forgot to highlight one of the coolest things about this piece of wood.
But wait,
It's
there's
so
more.
cool. Yeah, this is actually one of the reasons it broke into multiple pieces, is because there's like multiple big like veins inside of it with just that very brittle chalcedony. For my actual words of wisdom, one grain at a time. And what I mean by that is I am working on something very, very, very intimidating, and it's gonna take a long time. And I think the more I just sat and stared at it, I started to get overwhelmed. And I'm like, all right, you know what? We're just gonna grind just little by little. It's like grind for a few seconds, and we step back and look at it, and we're like, okay, I feel a little more comfortable now. So if even if you have to go slowly, even if you have to literally shave off one silicate grain off that rock at a time, just do it. Because the longer you sit and overanalyze it, it's just going to become this terrifying thing, which it was a few days ago. And now that I've actually like set upon it, it's like it's all fine. So yeah, just one grain at a time.
Excellent.
T-shirt.
Yeah. It never hurts. It never hurts to take a step back too. Unless are you working that piece of fire obsidian that you have? Just taking a step
No.
at it?
No, I'm working on something that
Top
people will be
secret.
seeing sometime the same week. They'll be seeing your top secret project.
Fair enough.
So,
I think I know what it is. Anyways, so my words of wisdom are be persistent. Just because once you start something, it doesn't matter if it's a project or if it's an idea, it doesn't matter what it is. Once you start it, just keep at it, because you never know where it's going to take you. And I'm going to keep it as simple as that. But I do want to add on to Patrick and Kurt's words of wisdom. It's kind of funny the guys kind of talked about that, because at work I have a whiteboard on my door, and I'll just kind of pick unknown quotes from random people. And I actually had a quote on the door that says, "Everyone that you meet has something to teach you." So it's kind of odd, but it works.
It's true.
And then my tangent that I wanted to go on was Karen's "Don't knock it till you try it." The other week, I bought some chocolate covered pretzels. Normally, I don't because they're expensive. And Amy does not like pretzels at all. She does not like. Doesn't matter. And so I brought home these pretzels. I'm like, "Hey, you want some?" She's like, "No, I don't want any." I'm like, "Okay, have you actually tried the chocolate covered pretzels?" She's like, "No." I had her try one, and she just looked at me like, "Yeah, they're good." So, and I've had like other things like happen that before. Many years ago in Job Corps, I had we had unlimited soda at the facility, and at least during lunchtime and like breakfast. So there was always root beer. And when you've been at a place long enough, you try to get creative with your meals, just kind of spice things up a bit, because at an institution like that, it's not the best high quality food, so you have to get creative. So I'm over at this facility. I get my root beer, pouring milk in there. It's basically a root beer float without the ice cream. And my friends are just looking at me kind of weird. I'm like, "Don't knock it until you try it." And sure enough, like they tried it and they're like, "Oh my God, you're right. Like this tastes like a root beer float." It's just like, how the ice cream. But yeah, don't knock it until you try it, because you never know. It might become your new favorite treat. End of
Wise
tangent.
words. Yep. Thank you for that.
I approve this message. So thank you everyone for your words of wisdoms. And Karen, if you'd be so kind to do the last part.
For sure. First, though, I'm going to pitch it back to Patrick and remind everybody what your channel is and if there's any of the social medias you'd like people to follow you on.
Oh, well, my channel's pretty easy. It's Patrick Donohue on YouTube.
Go subscribe.
You can, go
Wow.
subscribe. Keep those numbers rolling. Everything else is pretty scattershot. I have a Twitter that's poikuloblastic, which is a geology term. It's my favorite geology word. And on
That explains
Instagram,
things.
I'm PhD squared because my initials are PhD and I have a PhD, so PhD squared.
That's awesome.
I just got that.
That is awesome.
That is amazing.
That's awesome.
And after I can't remember the name of your guest. I'm blanking on it now. On TikTok, there was a couple guests ago. Like her main thing was TikTok.
Oh, K-Darn.
Yeah.
K-Darn, yeah. After her appearance, I signed up for TikTok and have a couple of faceting, just like little GIFs basically on there.
Yeah, go
And-
get them on TikTok.
I think I might be Poiky on there, just Poiky, short for poikiloblastic.
I will look you
A
up.
little
I'm
easier
on
to
TikTok.
pronounce.
If I'm not
It's your
already
handle
following,
on Discord too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my Discord as well. So yeah, join the
I was
Rockhound
wondering about that.
the Rockhound Roundtable Discord as well. I'm on there.
Yep. Yeah, come play with us all week long for sure. Yeah, and so thanks for that. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really enjoyed
Thank you.
having you on.
Yeah,
It would
thank
be
you.
cool to have you back on with another guest, and you guys can go basalting for. You can basalt us with your basalt.
The four of us could just sit back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
Enjoy
let it
the
play
ride.
out however it. Yeah,
was-
exactly.
Yep.
I was thinking about it. I was like, what if we had Patrick on, Jared on, and also Dr. Dr. Caitlin on?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
that'd
All
be
at the
an
same time.
Okay, that's
episode.
okay.
I don't
that's
think we
gotta
That'd be a
need
happen.
great
to be there
episode.
for that.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, we
We
can
just
just sit
start
back.
the Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just give them that episode.
Well, but we would love to have you on again, Patrick.
All right,
So
great. Yeah, I'd love to be back at some point.
Yeah.
awesome. All right.
For
And
sure.
all of you, let us know where you're viewing in from and what you're up to in the comments. Hit us up on the email address that's in the description, and you can go ahead and get on the Discord so that you can hang out with us and do the show and tells all week long, and that'll get you from podcast to podcast. And also, we're still accumulating our show and tells for the viewer show and tell for our next one. So same email, you can send us pictures and stories, and we will include you on that next special. And for now, thank you so much for tuning in and making it to the end, and rock on, and we'll see you next week.
Rock on.
Peace.